And here's an audio check from the room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
time? Let's go 9. Never do. They never do. Everett, this is bad, man. How do we get by not using this one today? See, the cable's broken. I don't have time to solder it. See that broken wire right there? That's it's been loose too long.
Okay.
By you moving it, it just popped. I just don't have time to do it right now. There's no way I can finish before 9.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know what to say right now.
Hey, Zach. Mrs. Slotkin, her mic don't work.
And I don't have time to fix it.
And yeah, he's not gonna be able to fix it fast enough. She can share one of the other two. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll put it back together, but it definitely is not going to work.
Yeah. And we'll just leave the mic out of it though. So that
Yeah. I can do that too. No worries. I wish I'd known earlier, but you know you did the right thing. Just that I'm gonna talk to Hythen. It's pretty. Yeah, it's killing us. All right. Okay.
Stenographer, test for the stenographer. 1, 2, 3.
He's running up. I almost wore that dress today.
Yeah, we should have coordinated. Is this new? You've never worn it?
I've worn it once or twice.
Really?
Yeah. But it's only been like on days where I'm doing stuff.
Stenographer, check. 1, 2, 3. Stenographer, sound check for the stenographer. 1, 2, 3. Sound check for the stenographer. 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing, sound check for the reporter. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 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 1, 2. Keep going.
Committee will come to order. I ask unanimous consent the chair be authorized to declare recess at any time without objection, so ordered. Without objection, members have 5 legislative days within which to submit written statements to be made part of the record. So ordered. We have 4 items of official business to consider today: adoption of the committee rules, approval of the committee security procedures, approval of the committee authorization and oversight plan, and appointment of committee staff. Before I begin consideration of the business, I want to recognize myself for a few minutes to welcome everybody to the Armed Services Committee. This committee has the fundamental duty to provide for our nation's common defense. The work we do here is critical to the security of our country and that of its partners and allies around the world. And while we have our disagreements at times, we have a long tradition of carrying out our responsibilities in a very bipartisan manner. That tradition will continue. I look forward to working closely with my friend and colleague, Ranking Member Smith, to enact the NDAA that strengthens our national defense and provides for our warfighters. That effort starts next week with our first 2 hearings. On Tuesday, we will examine the threats we face from China and how best to prepare our military to deter and defeat them. On Wednesday, we will hear about the state of the defense industrial base and the work we need to do to ensure that they are prepared for future conflicts. I expect we will continue to have a very aggressive schedule of hearings and briefings that will lead up to the mark later this spring. Oversight is going to be very important to Congress at both the full committee and subcommittee level. We will be closely examining the decisions made by this administration. We'll demand to know how these decisions impact our ability to build the ready, capable, and lethal fighting force that we need to deter China and our other adversaries. As we build the FY24 NDAA, we will be laser focused on the threats we face and the capabilities we need to defeat them. We will closely examine programs to determine if they actually provide the capabilities that we need to defeat threats we face. If they don't, they will be cut. At the end of the day, I expect we will find a lot of savings in the Pentagon. But I want to be clear about this. Modernizing our military will cost a lot of money, and we cannot shy away from that investment. In many cases, our warfighters currently lack the advanced technologies needed to succeed in future battlefields. But China is fielding those technologies today. We don't have a choice. We need to make robust investments in our national defense. I look forward to working with all of you to enact the NDAA that accomplishes these goals. With that, I want to quickly introduce our 11 new Republican members. First, Representative Carlos Jimenez from Florida. He was born in Cuba and fled the island with his family shortly after the communist takeover. He is the former mayor of Miami-Dade County and the first career firefighter ever elected to Congress. Number 2, Ms. Nancy Mace of South Carolina represents South Carolina's 1st Congressional District, home to 1/2 of the state's military installations, 1/3 of the state's veterans. She is the daughter of a retired Army general and the first woman to graduate from the Citadel's Corps of Cadets. Number 3, Brad Finstead, 4th-generation farmer. He's a graduate of University of Minnesota with a degree in agriculture education with an emphasis on rural leadership development. Next, we have a great Alabamian. Congressman Dale Strong represents Alabama's 5th District, which is home of Redstone Arsenal, where Army Material Command and Missile Defense Agency is located. He was the chairman of the Madison County Commission and is a lifelong firefighter and EMT. So if we have a fire, we got 2 firefighters now. Congressman Morgan Luttrell from Texas. Texas's 8th Congressional District and is native of Magnolia, Texas. He's a distinguished veteran of the Navy, serving over 14 years. Congresswoman Jen Kiggins represents Virginia's 2nd District. She's a former Navy pilot, helicopter pilot, who completed 2 tours of duty in the Persian Gulf. She's the daughter of a Green Beret who served in Vietnam, the wife of a former F-18 pilot, and the mother of 4 children, 2 of whom attend the United States Naval Academy and Virginia Military Institute. Next, we have Mr. Nick Lilota from New York's 1st District. He's a graduate of the Naval Academy and had a decorated career in the Navy, deploying overseas several times and serving as a surface warfare officer in the USS Kurtz and the USS Carl Vinson. Next, we have Congressman James Molan. He serves at Guam's Congressional District. He served in the Army, protected his district as a law enforcement officer, and spent more than 2 decades in the private sector. Next, we have the new Vicky Hartzler. It's Representative Mark Alford. And as a proud husband, father, and former small business owner, he spent 25 years anchoring Kansas City's #1 morning news show prior to his time in Congress. Next, we have Mr. Corey Mills of Florida, spent the majority of his adult life serving our nation. Through his military and government service, he spent more than 7 years in Iraq, 2.5 years in Afghanistan, and also spent time in Kosovo, Pakistan, Somalia, Kenya, and Ukraine. Finally, we have Mr. Rich McCormick to come to the aid of Austin Scott in protecting Georgia. Rich McCormick served 20 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, Navy as a JFO fighter pilot, and a medical doctor with deployments in Africa, Persian Gulf, and Afghanistan. I want to welcome all of you to our committee, and I look forward to working with you. Now I yield to my friend, the ranking member, Mr. Smith, for any opening remarks he may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And first and foremost, I want to congratulate Mike Rogers on his elevation to being chairman of this committee. It is a richly deserved honor, and look forward to working with you in that capacity. So congratulations. And I concur with everything he said in his opening remarks. This committee has a very strong tradition of working together in a bipartisan, and yes, even in a bicameral fashion, in order to do our job every year. I think it's 63 straight years now that we've passed the National Defense Authorizing Act, the only piece of legislation that passes every single year. It is not easy to do. It is a large piece of legislation involving a lot of issues which just about every member gets involved in, but it is enormously important that we do that to exercise our oversight of the Department of Defense and meet our paramount duty as a body to defend and protect this country. So this is a very serious committee. When Mr. Rogers was the ranking member and I was the chairman, we worked incredibly well together, and I have no doubt whatsoever that that relationship will continue. And all of the members of the committee on both sides of the aisle will do the same. It's not that we don't disagree, it's that we understand that we do have to get work done, so at the end of it, we have to find a way to agree, pass our bill, and move forward. So I look forward to that process. And Mr. Rogers is also right. We face a complex threat environment right now. There are a number of requirements to meet the national security needs of our country. First and foremost to me is to make sure that Ukraine remains a sovereign and democratic state. And that we end the war there and protect Ukraine and their sovereignty. He's also right about the need for modernization. It is a fast-changing world. Technology is crucial to what happens on the battlefield. We are learning that every day in Ukraine. We need to make sure that we here in the U.S. continue to be the leaders in using that technology to put us in the best position to meet our defense needs and be able to deter our adversaries. And the other issue that I know Mr. Rogers cares a great deal about is recruitment and retention. What makes that military work is the people who serve in it. We need to make sure that we continue to be able to recruit and retain the best and the brightest, support them, and also support their families to make sure that they get the support that they need to do the job that is so incredibly important. With that, we have 6 new members of the committee that I would like to introduce. First up, we have Representative Jeff Jackson from North Carolina. He is a former prosecutor and a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. He enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve as a private first class after the attack of September 11th and is currently a major in the North Carolina National Guard. Second, we have Representative Gabriel Vasquez, who represents New Mexico's 2nd District, which includes the birthplace of America's missile and air space operations, White Sands Missile Range. He served on the Las Cruces City Council from 2017 to 2021. And the district is also the home of the Sandia and Los Alamos National Laboratories, Kirtland and Holloman Air Force bases, and is home to most of Fort Bliss's training area. It's a district with very, very strong ties to our national defense apparatus. Representative Chris DeLuzio from Pennsylvania is a native of Western Pennsylvania. Congressman DeLuzio is an Iraq War veteran, Naval Academy graduate, voting rights attorney, and union organizer. Congressman DeLuzio was commissioned as an active duty surface warfare officer in the U.S. Navy and deployed 3 times, including a tour of duty as a U.S. Army Civil Affairs officer in Iraq. After returning from Iraq, Congressman DeLuzio received his law degree from Georgetown Law School. And then we have, as we always do and always should, a representative from the great state of Hawaii, Representative Jill Takuda. a fourth-generation Hawaiian who served in the Hawaii State Senate for 12 years and now represents Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District. A proud product of Hawaii's public schools, she was the first in her family to go to college and attended George Washington University, where she earned a BA in International Relations with a minor in Japanese Studies. Then we have Representative Don Davis from the great state of North Carolina. He is the 4th Air Force Academy graduate to be elected to Congress. Congressman Davis knows the challenges faced by service members firsthand, from returning to civilian life and for military families during and after their loved ones' deployment. Congressman Davis served 8 years of active duty in the Air Force, earning the rank of captain, and as a ranking member in the North Carolina State Senate, leading on military issues for over a decade. And our 6th and last new member is actually a 7-term member of Congress, Congresswoman Terry Sewell from Alabama. So the chairman will appreciate that. As I said, she's in her 7th term, and she represents the Civil Rights District, which includes the historic cities of Birmingham, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, and her hometown of Selma, Alabama. In the 118th Congress, she was selected to serve as a chief Democratic whip and sits on the prestigious Steering and Policy Committee. She is an honors graduate of Princeton University and Oxford University and received her law degree from Harvard Law School. So she's smart, is what we're saying, which is always helpful in this committee. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to serving with you.
Thank you. All right, on to business. I call up Committee Resolution Number 1 regarding the committee rules for the 118th Congress. The clerk shall read the resolution.
Committee Resolution Number 1, resolve that the Committee on Armed Services, U.S. House of Representatives, adopt the committee rules for the 118th Congress, which are stated in a copy distributed to each member.
The proposed rules have been developed jointly with the ranking member and made available to members' offices on Tuesday, January 31st. I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be considered as read and that the resolution be open to amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. This time, is there any discussion or do we have any questions concerning the committee rules? Seeing none, are there any amendments to the rules? Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman, for the purposes of offering a motion regarding the committee resolution number 1, the committee rules.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt committee resolution number 1.
Question now occurs on the motion of the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman. So many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. A quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. The next order of business is committee resolution number 2 regarding the committee security procedures for the 118th Congress. I call up resolution number 2. The clerk will read the resolution.
Committee Resolution Number 2, resolve that the Committee on Armed Services, U.S. House of Representatives, adopt the committee security procedures for the 118th Congress, a copy which has been distributed to each member.
The security procedures were coordinated with Mr. Smith and were made available to members' offices on Tuesday, January 31st. I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be considered as read and that the resolution be open to amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. At this time, is there any discussion or are there any questions concerning the security procedures? There being none further discussion, are there any amendments to the security procedures? Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman, for a purpose of offering a motion regarding Committee Resolution Number 2, the security procedures for the 118th Congress.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt committee resolution number 2.
Question now occurs on the motion of the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman. So many as in favor will say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Next order of business is the Committee Resolution Number 3 regarding the committee's authorization and oversight plan for the 118th Congress. I call up Committee Resolution Number 3. Clerk will read the amendment of the resolution.
Committee Resolution Number 3, resolve that the Committee on Armed Services, U.S. House of Representatives, adopt the Committee Authorization and Oversight Plan for the 118th Congress, a copy of which has been distributed to each member.
The authorization and oversight plan was coordinated with Mr. Smith and made available to members' offices on Tuesday, January 31st. I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be considered as read and that the resolution be open to amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. At this time, is there any discussion or are there any questions concerning the authorization and oversight plan? If there's no discussion, are there any amendments to the authorization and oversight plan? Chair, now recognize the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman, for the purpose of offering a motion regarding Committee Resolution Number 3, the authorization and oversight plan for the 118th Congress.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Committee Resolution Number 3.
Question now occurs on the motion of the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman. So many as are in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted without objection. The motion reconsidered is laid upon the table. On the final order of business, I call up Resolution Number 4, appointing committee staff in the 118th Congress. Clerk shall read the resolution.
Committee Resolution Number 4, resolved that the persons listed on the sheet distributed to the members and such other personnel as may be required by the committee within the limits and the terms authorized under the rules of the House of Representatives are hereby appointed to the staff of the Committee on Armed Services, the U.S. House of Representatives for the 118th Congress. It being understood that according to the provisions of law, the chairman will fix the basic salary per annum.
As many of you know, our committee is unique in that the committee staff is a combined staff. The staff is here to provide advice and counsel to all of you, Republican and Democrat members alike. Please feel free to avail yourself of their services. They are a talented group of professionals. Copy of the committee staff for the 118th Congress was prepared in consultation with the minority and made available to members' offices on Tuesday, January 31st. I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be considered as read without objection, so ordered. At this time, is there any discussion or are there any questions concerning the committee staff? Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman, for the purpose of offering a motion regarding Committee Resolution Number 4, appointing the committee staff for the 118th Congress.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Committee Resolution Number 4.
Question now occurs on the motion of the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman. So many as are in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Without objection, committee staff is authorized to make technical and conforming changes to reflect the action of the committee in adopting Committee Resolution Number 1 through 4. And before I go to Mr. Smith, I want to tell y'all, if you look at the other committees, they don't do what we just did. Those people are fighting like cats and dogs trying to figure out the rules. This is my 11th Congress. We have never had an amendment or discussion. We get this stuff done in a bipartisan fashion before we meet in here. We are the only committee that does that, and we should all take pride in that. With that, I recognize Mr. Smith for any closing comments.
Only closing comment is to completely agree with what you just said.
Thank you.
And thank you. And thank you for running a good meeting.
Thank you. We are adjourned.